Start recording. Okay, hello. Start recording is my slash marker. I realize that I start so many of my recordings by saying start recording. Because I say the button when I press it, so.
That's fair. Also, yeah, I did stay up to play Kingdom Hearts with you that one time. You were furious the entire time.
Because it's a bad game.
It's a great game. No,
it's a
not.
bad game.
Kingdom Hearts 1 is a bad game.
I think Kingdom Hearts 2 and the other ones could be fun. I think Kingdom Hearts 1 is a very flawed game. Gameplay wise, I obviously I was going to hate the plot, but from a gameplay perspective, it's rough.
I've talked to you about this, and I think I've talked to a couple of other people about it. When I start streaming, which is probably going to be sometime next month now.
For 2002,
for that, by the way, Danny.
For 2002, yeah, it's good. I played it in 2023, and it sucked.
Yeah. I am going to play that first game. I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to play them blind, so I'm not gonna do them too heavily. But I want to play at least the first one.
I get it. I'm banned.
And I'm gonna I'm gonna play the first one, and I'm gonna 100% it, so you get to see everything that you didn't have the patience for, everything that was super boss content that you would have had to grind for, which wasn't ever gonna happen. And also just with the knowledge that I have and the skill that I have in the games from playing them 100 million times. And I wonder if that will be a different experience for you. I might have to get you on for that rather than just having you in chat, seeing how different it is when you don't have to endure it personally.
Maybe.
I might do Anime Hell again. Yeah, Anime Hell is what we called it when we were on Something Awful back before I knew I was a lady. And yeah, I literally 100%ed every single game that was available at that time, which was everything before free at that point. So,
what's wrong with you?
Wahoo! Lots of things, honestly. Are you going to share the screen to me, darling?
Yeah. I was waiting for you to finish your story.
You can still share the screen whilst I'm telling you a bad story about Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, is that working?
Yeah, that seems to be okay. I'm not sure if I can hear any noise, though, which does seem...
You should be able to.
Give me a sec, stop talking. Yeah, I can hear that.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Is it highlighting different things, or is it frozen? It's actually... If I go into options, does it change?
Mouse, but yeah. Okay. I just can't see your mouse, but yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Okay.
So I do need to explain. I have played and beaten this game, and so has Hex. But I have not played this game since 2016. I remember most of it, but there's a lot of small parts that I don't remember. And Hex played it a week ago, and it's very fresh on her mind. So
I also played it earlier today to get myself super refreshed on it. So what I think we're gonna do the first go round, because I don't quick give me a +2 if you've played this game. But I think the first round go round.
Well, I don't think we're gonna go through it twice. I don't
think we're gonna go through it fully twice. But what I think we should do is go through it once, as the game presents itself, and then we can kind of just hit back on points to talk about, if that makes sense.
Maybe. I mean, I figure
it does.
I figured the way that we were going to do it was just that we would just play through, and then we'll talk about things as they happen, and then at the end we can discuss our thoughts.
Yeah. I just don't want to I don't want to spoil too much if we don't have a lot of people who played it.
Yeah, no, that's
because
fair.
It is one of those.
It looks
things
like we
where,
don't have a lot of people who've played it.
Doesn't look like we had a lot, so I think we talk about it as if it was a first-time view.
I really am.
And then
hungry.
Afterwards we can do some talk.
My tummy hurts. I really am hungry.
You're not hungry? Well, if someone does want to get Kyria something to eat, that would be appreciated.
I didn't realize I was this hungry until a few minutes ago. My tummy started kind of rumbling, and now it kind of hurts.
You dummy.
I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose.
It's okay.
Anyway, I am gonna say part of the reason I was getting all my sillies out in the beginning is that this is a pretty serious game. It's not. I'm not gonna not make jokes or anything. It has a sense of humor. It's by the guy who made the Stanley Parable, but it's definitely much more of an artsy fartsy serious game. So I'm not gonna try to put a damper on chat and be no jokes, but I would appreciate it as a chat. We haven't played a serious game in a while. I would appreciate it as a chat if we could kind of
engage with it where it's at.
Yeah, take it a little seriously. Don't just try to mystery science theater 3000 on it is all. I know sometimes we play games and very occasionally I'll play a serious game and chat will just be like, haha, penis the whole time. And I'm like, guys, I want you to engage with this game and like take it seriously. So
yeah,
kind of one of those experiences.
Shall we go?
Yeah, let's go.
Wahoo!
Made the decarnation fine. We did. For the most part, I think we'll be fine, but you know. I think this game is very good. I think it's probably one of my top 10. So
Haha. Penis.
True.
Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story,
who don't know, Davey
today
Reedon is
I'm going to tell you about a series of events.
Yeah, Davey Reedon is a real guy.
And 2011.
I actually knew him back on Face Punch.
We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator.
I'm so glad the subtitles are on top
the games
so you can see them.
I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
But also,
it's 2008.
Hold on, I want to say this real fast. In the spirit of overanalyzing this the way that he is, because you could very easily say, no, the floating blocks are just because Coda was figuring out like 3D stuff. It doesn't mean anything. But in the spirit of overanalyzing this the way that he is, I think the subtitles at the top make it feel like he is talking down to you, like he's sort of God in the sky, and you are below, like you are on the ground. You know, he is presenting this experience to you from an omniscient perspective, sort of.
This starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet. He just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever.
Yeah, Coda never released anything.
And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda.
I don't think it's possible, babe.
So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just
the implication is that like
you can email
he got these levels from Coda.
You know,
yeah, he's not
at gmail.com.
He's not presenting these as his own levels.
That's about it for introduction.
Presenting
Let's
what
take
Coda
a look at
has
Coda's
made.
first proper game.
So there are
as
definitely
each game is loaded, I'll show you the date that it was completed.
About plagiarism
this
in
first
game,
one was made
like
in November 2008.
Which I'll sort of bring attention to, but this in and of itself isn't like
I wouldn't go into this thinking about it as plagiarism. That's not really like it that would be like saying a museum is plagiarism. This is more like a museum. This is a museum of Coda's work.
Cool.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
You could.
So
yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just got a. I'm sure it's just got like a generic auto reply on it now or something.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
it kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets.
Yep, sure can't.
But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship activation.
Okay, so that's a really interesting point about talking about games for what they are rather than what they
I love how you can
could
see
be
the
or
bottom
what
of
they
the
should be.
universe from this road.
Yeah. Let me turn the, like... Oh, I can, there's only a master volume. Okay, alright.
Disgusting.
Just turn you up. It's hard to hear you over the game even for me, so I'm sure chat's having an
Wow,
issue.
okay.
Okay.
Sorry, chat.
Alright, there. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying, like, it's interesting that he mentioned... You need to go the other way.
I know.
It was interesting that he was mentioning about looking at games for what they are rather than what they could be. That's a very interesting point, which I think that he contradicts later. Also, those 3 dots on the wall that were there. Keep an eye out for those, because I have like a very strong like opinion on those, because they do show up throughout other games. But
I don't remember that.
Apparently the space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
What if I wanted to figure it out, dickhead?
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned
that labyrinth
off,
is solvable,
and then
by
you
the way.
get to the
Yeah, it
engine
is.
room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If you...
Excuse me, sorry
Your
chat, I'm
body
still
is
like
stuck
getting
with
over
heat.
things, so if you hear coughs,
It's so
I can't
to
do much
ask,
about
but
them.
for all of
I'm
our
doing my
lives,
best.
Would you do it? Could you give yourself?
That's dark. I don't remember. I don't remember
is.
the first game being like kill yourself to save everybody. But also, yeah, part of the reason Hex wanted to do this is because we kind of have differing opinions on a lot of parts of this game, because Hex used it from a very story perspective, and I view
This
it.
is not a branching point, unfortunately. The
Shut up,
only
I'm
option
talking.
is to step into the beam.
I know. I view it from a very game dev perspective, including some stuff later that is the point that we have some disagreements on. But yeah, I view this from a very game dev perspective, since I have done and worked in game dev. Also, this is all in the source engine, or at least it might be Unity, but it's like I'm gonna double check. Hold on. I can.
It is all.
It's meant
it is
to
all within
evoke the source engine.
I think he actually mentions that in a future level.
I'm just trying to see if it's actually Unity pretending to be the source engine. Hold on. Oh no, that's actually the source engine. Nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm dead.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere.
Nice,
and this
Sunoco.
is what happens instead.
This is
Nice,
what.
Sunoco, good for you. Okay, so this is what happens in the game.
Yep.
Just glitches and you just go up.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Not a labyrinth. That's a maze. It's the same thing.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair.
The past was behind her.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
So, I will share one of my things that we
So it's a
sort
short
of, I don't
and
know if we
relatively
disagreed on,
minimalist
but didn't
experiment
strike you as an
combining
opinion.
motion and narrative. It is
Anything
less
that refers
advanced
to a
than the
player
Davies
character
game, but
in this.
actually
Hold
it
on.
seems to be
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
focused,
let him talk
more
and then
complete.
talk after.
Sure.
Code is trying
That
to
way
give
we're
it a
not,
unique
like,
voice rather
talking
than
over it.
simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Yeah, okay. What were you gonna say?
So anytime that text in one of these games refers to the character or anything like that, it is referring to it was referring to a female character.
Yeah, the past is
where it was
behind
the
her.
past is behind her, stuff like that. So when she stops and looks, it becomes clear. This is all but so far, Davey has only referred to Coda as him.
Yeah, so Hex thinks Coda is trans.
I think Coda is trans.
It's a short little
Which
thought.
isn't
it
something I
says what it
disagree
wants to
with,
say,
I
and
just
then it ends. Didn't need
Didn't
anything
pick
more
it
than
up
that.
yourself, yeah, which is fair.
Which to me is why it works.
it's very much an
because
interpretation.
it gets out quick.
But I
Okay,
think that
next
there are
one.
things that support it, especially because in the Escape from Whisper, the voiceover is female as well, and if Coda isn't sharing these games with anybody, who did that voiceover?
I mean, that could be the case, but it also kind of vaguely sounded a little text-to-speechy to me.
I get that.
So,
Anyway, you can move now. You
Oh, I
don't
know.
have to move.
I know, I'm just waiting for you to finish.
Okay, sure.
You are now entering... something. Hi, thanks for the follow.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I
Coda
promise
could
you'll
also
see
be
what
a
makes it
skill, that's
interesting.
the
Don't talk while it's talking, babe. It's
Sorry.
fucking up a lot of chat.
Sorry, chat.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
Okay, now what were you gonna say?
I wish I'd known him at
Fuck,
the time
never mind,
he was
never
making
mind.
these early
Sorry.
games. He would really only
Okay.
talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Okay, now you can say something.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I think that there is a fair amount to support it, but it very much is an interpretation. I don't think Davey Reedon Davey Reedon, the actual developer, rather than Davey Reedon, the character in this story that we're paying attention to. I don't think that was inserted as an intentional thing necessarily.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't really disagree that Coda could be trans. It's just not something I really thought about or picked up on. I thought I thought the discrepancy was a little weird. Maybe it did cross my mind in 2016 when I first played this, but for the most part, I was just
It's hard to think of.
I was
Yeah,
just
for sure.
kind of, it's not really hard to think of. I just kind of was happy to just go along and think just kind of go along and be like, wow, Coda likes writing about girls a lot or whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Even if Coda is trans, I'm not sure it really changes much, if any, of the narrative.
No. Well, it changes a little bit of stuff later on, potentially, or it changes a bit of the motivations for stuff.
Maybe. I do remember this one, though. I like this one. I'm not stopping,
Once
chat.
you've been slowed to
I just
an
can't
absolute
move.
crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Why? Why would I do that, though? That's clearly
So
not Coda's intention.
So just because I did test to see if anything happens if you go up without pressing enter, nothing different happens. So you just press it for the sake of the stream.
I know,
But
it kind of
Yeah,
ruins the
nothing like
artistic. It ruins the artistic
That's the point.
thing that Coda was doing.
so that's an important thing. I really like this room.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games. Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
I really like these as just like ideas for games. Just like little prompts and things.
This is almost Tunic, a series of lavish manuals that tell you how to play the game incorrectly. That's almost Tunic. It's more so that it's a manual that tells you how to play the game incorrectly, but you have to decode it because it's in a different language.
Fair. Oh, I guess that door opened.
It said ready, set, something.
Ready, set, fish.
Here's another jump scare.
Yeah, I don't really think
this
there's a
is
right
new
or
for
wrong
Coda.
answer about
it's
this game.
It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Don't know if you remember how to solve this one.
Nope, but I'll figure it out.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle
Hey,
again
there they are
soon.
again.
We're going to see it a lot.
I like the recurring theme of having to move at Davey's pace. You're not allowed to appreciate the game at your own pace. You're just given Davey's perspective. Ah, you're already hitting on the themes of the game. Yeah, Coda clearly is making pieces that are like, they're not games per se as much as they are like evocative like art pieces. Like the climbing the stairs and becoming like impossible to climb. That's like a feeling we can all relate to, right? But Coda just wants to talk about them, or not Coda, Davey just seems to want to talk about them from an almost pure game design standpoint, or thinks that thinks like as soon as you see the art, it's kind of like, oh, I get it, going up the stairs is hard, okay, cool, can we move on now? Like, you get it, you got it, good, you've consumed the piece of art. So let's
Like the kind of person who would go to it, like the kind of person who goes to a museum and wants to see everything. Not just wants to like appreciate their time at the museum, they want to finish the museum.
Yeah, like I get it, I've seen the piece of art, can we move on now? Come on, let's take the restraints off. But the restraints are part of the art.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. All right, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
I remember this one. I love this one.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world.
Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
So this is the entire thesis statement of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If your role isn't to understand, what is it?
You are now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
March 2009. You guys can't see the timestamps, but that was January 2009. This is March 2009. Great and lovely descent.
Let's talk about video game development for a second.
Been dying to
Every
talk
video
about it.
game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
X is muted. No, she's just not saying anything.
To make
Just
all
check
of
that
these
I'm
games,
still not muted.
Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all
No, it
engines,
should be okay.
Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many
So
of
I
Coda's
don't
games are
necessarily
set in
think that's
these
true of
large,
Source.
flat,
Wait,
empty
wait,
rooms,
wait.
is just because he's working with what the engine does well.
Okay. No, from a game dev perspective,
The
and
tools available
God damn
to the
it, stop
creator
talking.
shape what
I'm
kind
pausing it. From a game dev perspective, no, he's extremely wrong about Source. That's not what Source is for. That's what like Gold Source was for, because it was fucking it was Quake Engine. But like
If you
even
think
then,
that like a game like let's say like Half-Life 1 is very much that, but even if you look at like Half-Life 2, that becomes very open and
yeah,
very.
I mean, there's
So it's like,
multiple giant levels that are extremely open that you have to use vehicles to traverse because of both their size and their openness.
so I think that there definitely is an element of this is Davey putting his opinion out as a fact.
Yeah, the
Um,
Source Engine is the Source
But I
Engine
also think-
is like it is hard to make open world levels. It's way easier to make boxy levels like what he's talking about. And if you're a junior game dev who doesn't know what you're doing, or you're not like somebody with a lot of experience with the Source Engine, that's probably all you're going to make. But that doesn't mean that that's what the Source Engine is good at, and it's bad at other things.
So I think that like it's interesting that he's saying that in a level which is demonstrating the opposite. Like this is a big open, like obviously there's not a lot in it. But this is enjoy bed, Chloe. Thank you for hanging out.
Good night, Chloe.
But the fact that he's demonstrating this in here, and also the thing that comes next, which we'll get to in a second, it kind of is proving that he's not necessarily right.
Kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider
you
paying
remember to
attention
go-
to the
where to go from
architecture
here?
in Coda's
I'm
games
waiting for him to finish.
notice how they
Cool.
seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear boxy corridors.
What does this say? That's
A streetwise fool.
oh, that's Streetwise Fool. Yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
Also, this ominous fucking music.
Yeah. Yeah, the music. His definition of like an engine is fine. Like it's just a thing.
He's not
that
even
tells you
that
what
wrong
rules
about the
game
Source
is.
Engine, but he's wrong in ways that matter.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that opened in a really annoying way.
You open that? No.
No.
Okay, so
Literally this.
hold on. I want to explain something real fast. For those of you who probably didn't grow up on the Source Engine and don't know it as well as I do, there is a tendency in Source Engine games to use what are called dev textures, which are orange textures, orange, gray, and white textures with outlines around them, and sometimes like outlines within them as well that say like 128 by 128. They say like the resolution of the texture in the top left corner, and then they say what they are. So they're like wood, metal, glass, whatever.
What the fuck?
Django, thank you. But you use these textures as a way of. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the game down. It feels a little loud, and I feel like I'm kind of yelling over it.
Yeah. It's like a way. It's a way to like block out a game before you do like the art design and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's a way to block out the game, but they kind of like they kind of have their own charm. So if you've ever played like Counter-Strike, 1.6 or Counter-Strike Source especially, or Gary's mod, you've probably encountered, like even Dave Defeat or TF2, I remember a lot of Dave Defeat ones, you've probably encountered maps that were like that are intentionally designed as orange and gray maps, and like that's their purpose. They were never supposed to be anything but that. They are supposed to have those prototype textures because they kind of had this their own like sort of this like rough, unfinished, charmed and aesthetic and stuff that a lot of people really like in the Source community. And that's what these textures are, although they have the names filed off. But these orange, gray, and white textures, these are all dev textures. This is basically placeholder textures. It's intentionally made placeholder here. I say intentionally. It's intentionally in the sense that like they're not just completely untextured. Like this stair is just completely untextured, but this stuff is textured with dev textures. Yeah, it's just worth noting that is what's happening here. That's why stuff are these colors. Like that is a conscious design by Coda. Whether or not they were intended to be actual textures later, or they were intended to stay these textures, either way, they were made purposefully to be these colors, to be these dev textures, whether or not they were going to be changed later. Yeah, no, I love orange maps. Orange maps are great. They're some of my favorite. They're the majority of what I played Day of Defeat on, which is kind of funny considering that's supposed to be like a, you know, a World War II shooter, but I played it the way a lot of people played Counter-Strike Source. It was my favorite one, and I played a lot of surf maps on it, played a lot of orange maps. It was the first Valve game I ever got, technically, because I got it so I could buy Gary's mod, because it was $5 and you had to have some Source game to play Gary's mod. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
I fell.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, that just hit my vertigo a little bit. Like, drops in video games always get me. Don't know why.
That way it's the orange box? Partially, yes. Yeah, Valve really likes orange and has for a while.
It pops. So this bit is very interesting to me.
Hold on.
Including the commentary. So
I'm gonna show chat an orange level just so that they know what I'm talking about. Because if you haven't played, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. So this is an example of an orange map. This is like what they would look like. Like you can see the like, you know, this is supposed to be some kind of tower. This is supposed to be like a guardrail or something. Like these are supposed to be a thing, but they're just rough blocks now. But like I said, there was a whole thing, like these are supposed to be crates in front of you. But there was a whole thing where like people would make levels like this on purpose and never update the textures. They just looked like this on purpose. I played so many of these, God. Oh, that hits me right in the fuck. Makes me want to fucking install Day of Defeat. God. Ooh. Played a lot of those in TF2 as well.
Looks like the new Scarf idea.
I haven't played it. Is it making stuff out of cardboards as a kid? Yeah. I used to make my own orange maps in Hammer, but they were not very good. Played Day of Defeat Source and fucking pound each other? Hell yeah, brother. I don't know, chat, if you can hear it, but there's this like rhythmic pulsing that's like really, really bassy. Kind of sounds like my fucking like headphones are kind of like I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like they're being punched a little. Oh, I can't go that way. Rip.
Nope.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
I do mind, but okay.
Again, just like they're adding another.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot.
This experience,
you know,
where
whether a game ought to actually be played, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
A lot of malice in that.
That's my fault.
A lot of malice in doing something like that.
You gotta be really annoyed with somebody to make like hundreds of like basically the same games that does nothing, right?
Yeah. Hex was saying that it's just another example of like Coda or of Davey, you know, being like, oh, we're just gonna skip this annoying part. Like, yeah, it's annoying, but that's part of the process of what it is. Being annoyed at it is the point. Yeah, there's the 3 dots again. I do not remember these showing up all that much.
Right?
Guess that's Coda's, like, calling card.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
Spoilers, dick.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
I bet you will. I mean, it feels pretty obvious to me. There's no way back. Like, the only way is forward, but you have to take sort of a leap of faith to go forward in the first place. You have to because by closing that first door without knowing that this is there the first time you do it, you are effectively soft locking yourself in here if you don't know that this is there. Like, you have to take a leap of faith that, you know, you're not going to get soft locked.
Sure.
From a game dev perspective, it's a very obvious puzzle. It's a very, like,
point of no return.
It's a point of no return, and it teaches your player to trust your developer intentions. It's fun because Davey refuses the idea of a closed door. Yep. You there, where did you come from?
Here,
Up
Coda
above? What was up there?
a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
I'm gonna have to read it to you because it's over there in the corner behind my logo. Yeah, it was. It says, you there, did you come from up above? What was up there? Yes, there was a world stamped with whiteness. Yes, there was an enormous prison I spent hours in. Yes, there were these floating colored blocks. Well, that's the part I remember the most, so. That's the world above. You've been there. Now, this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. No, I don't remember having to go through any puzzle. I'd prefer not to tell you. After all, we've only just met. Remember Source having chat capabilities? Oh yeah, absolutely it does. Gold Source had chat capabilities.
Only in the sense of being able to, like, respond to prompts with, like, menu options. Obviously, this isn't actually chat. It's just, you know.
No, this is the multiplayer. No, babe, this is the multiplayer chat.
Oh, okay.
That's the function that it's using. This is the multiplayer chat. It's not actually using that function because that looks differently, but that's what it's trying to evoke. That is the multiplayer chat function, and then the responses here are actually technically a weapon select, but that's whatever. Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side. I don't remember how I solved it. I'm trying to remember, but I can't. I didn't solve it. Someone else let me in. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. No, I didn't solve it. Someone else let me in. You didn't solve it? So you have learned nothing. You cannot help us escape this prison. You are not the one I need. Surely there will be someone else. I really like the turning heads that say listen and speak. Just a very inspired idea.
Definitely.
Hello, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? Yes, do you want to know how to solve it? No, we actually find the black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? Why would I care about the space between the doors? Actually, now that you mention it, I remember feeling strange as I passed through it. I don't recall a space between the doors. Actually, now that you mention it, I remember feeling strange as I passed through it. Don't think too hard about it. You'll see it again soon. All right.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
Passing through another dark space, interestingly.
Mm-hmm. So in case you don't know, chat, this is
It's
the
a
icon
lamppost.
for the game on like Steam.
Okay, I can't
Like
tell
the
you
like
quite
64
why,
by
but
64
for some
icon.
reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're gonna see it in the work as well. His games are just gonna become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
April 2009. This game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. Whoa, it's Dark Souls! You ever notice how many of these games start you looking at the sky?
Mm-hmm.
Nice room. Not.
Alright, voice.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda.
How you gonna ruin the
This
illusion
was
like
actually
that?
the first game of his that I ever played.
Right?
This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person.
This
In
person.
retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
Can you guys hear me? Good night, Joey. I love you. Hello.
Good night, Joey.
Reasonable.
Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them.
Everyone read this.
Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness.
Damn, this
I
person's
see this
DTF.
person who's filled
Hey.
with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played.
Everybody send Joey pets.
This game, or this place, makes me sad.
But it's ironic, isn't it? That in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him.
Fun.
And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's
That got
game
me.
and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing.
I
I
feel
could
like
just
we have
get
a
to
word
know
for
you
that.
through your work.
Yeah.
I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that
Hold on
connection.
1 second.
I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Everything okay? Are you just adjusting?
Sorry, I had a phone call, but because we live in the future, I can answer the phone call on my watch and talk on my watch because that's really cool.
Future.
No, seriously, I've done that multiple times when somebody calls me, especially because it's really nice because when my phone is in use with with VTubing, that I can just pull up my watch and start talking to it like it's a fucking Pit Boy.
She's always smelling my hair, chat. Don't let her lie to you.
Burvs. Okay. Thought I'm hungry. When you buy me food? Saw a flying penguin. Let me tell you, it was the most majestic thing I've ever seen. I don't like living. I don't feel like living. Nothing will ever be as majestic as that. I never want to see again if nothing will ever be as beautiful again. I am crying now and plan on ripping my eyes out. I must go do that. Normal one.
Same, buddy.
Do not be afraid. Do care. Game is so nice. I would like it when I could. You feel like a hero yet?
Ah, just like in Spec Ops, the line. Hey.
Cavern, bro.
Have you
Right.
played Downstream before?
I've never played it in general. I know
Never played it at
the
all?
like I know all the stuff about it, but yeah, I've never played it.
Interesting. Cool.
Running out of space, soon we will suffocate. There are too many messages in this area. Why? Hey, I can type here. Guy over there wrote so much wrong. Are they doing literally anything other than playing this? In a world full of notes, one man will read all of them. This summer, you will believe blue speech bubbles can talk. +2, Coda. I don't think I ever read any of them past, like, these.
So there's a bunch that you can't get to.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. Badge.
That's game design, baby.
Like I said, I know all the stuff in Spec Ops, but like I know all the twists and stuff. But well, I know the big picture stuff anyway. I don't know all the like minute details. But I would still like to play it.
Adding it to the endless backlog.
I can assure you, guaranteed that there is an acorn somewhere here in this place, and the sailors are looking for it.
That feels like a reference, but I don't get it.
Very telling in some ways. The narrator said it's fine to just skip all of these since they do nothing. Yeah.
Well, I will like give him a bone. He says if they're not doing anything for you.
Someone to talk with. I refuse to believe. But so true. See, like the thing that gets me is that Davey is like, oh, this is so lonely, this is so sad, this speaks to me of a person who made something really lonely and depressing and sad or whatever, right? And it's like, that's not how I see it. Like, yeah, you could see this as really like lonely and sad because one person made all these fake messages, but on the other hand, you could very easily see this as like somebody making a world, like even this weird, you know, sort of depressing cavern to be in, hundreds of people want to leave messages and say things in it, and like it doesn't really matter if they're real or not. It's about the effect that like all of these people, you know, are gathered here to experience this thing. Like, I don't know. To me it feels very open. I need to go to the freaking bathroom. Recognize me, please. Nothing here. Go back. Don't listen to that guy.
Okay.
Dark Souls
Good
ass
thing that
messages.
happened.
A free t-shirt. Need other side door. Why you so? Door how open? Open sesame. Makes game includes door, cannot open door. Thanks. Davey, leave that one. Someday I will meet the person who made this. I need help because of the internal good feeling, or I help people because of the internal good feeling I get. New room!
I really like that piece of art over there, by the way.
Yeah, it's good. Do you hear the chimes? They keep you going, don't they? I'd very much like to be desired. Welcome, congratulations. I don't really know where to go with this. You can go in here, I think. Not very crowded here. Scared of writing something, don't want to feel judged. Game where you leave notes and suddenly everyone's a poet. This is where I get off. I failed to write anything here. I am compelled. Stop, turn back. Proceeding further will only result in misery. Oh, yeah.
Oh, the misery.
Take my hand, let's jump together. I'm trying, brother.
Okay.
Cabbage shapes our nation. What is that painting? It's a very pretty painting, you're not wrong.
For real, yeah. Did I tell you I got jump scared by Imagine Dragons at the oh, where was I?
I don't know.
At the optician. Just fucking playing on the sound system.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I think I'm this is not going anywhere. Next time I will do better. I need someone to talk to. This is a note? Don't listen to the other notes.
There's something very counterintuitively it's counterintuitively alienating about the seeing of other people. I think that Evangelion says this a lot as well in a lot of ways. It's like being seen by other people is
understood.
an alienating experience, even as it is an inclusive one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is something I think about a lot. Being seen by other people. This is a bit complicated of a way to say it, and a bit of a like what's the word? Like making it too easy or whatever. Simplifying it too much. But like, you can't ever actually know anybody ever. Like, you can only parasocially know a person like as much as they exist in your head.
Good job, Len.
Like, I can't ever actually know, like, what somebody is thinking or what somebody wants or their desires or whatever. I can have a pretty good guess and approximation based on the them that is constructed in my head, but you can't ever actually know anybody. I can't literally be in your head and think, like, you know that, like, you're going to react this way or something. I want Piba too. My tummy hurt. I'm really hungry.
So I don't, I think about this concept of, I don't know if I've talked to you about the concept of phenomenology before.
No.
Which is like quite an in-depth sense of, quite an in-depth thing of psychology and philosophy. But it's the concept of, also, like, are you hanging around here for a reason or just because we're talking?
Just letting you talk.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's the idea that an experience happens inside your head. It's not an external thing. Your experience can only ever be your experience of, like, interacting with somebody or the thing that they say. The thing that they say is interpreted inside your head, and so your experience of it is something that is so intensely personal as to be completely incomprehensible to another person. Even when you can empathize and even when you connect with somebody, it's still only happening in your head.
I think of something on a similar note a lot. I think about, like, okay, let's say that I wanted to describe to you a white oak tree with black rivets in it and dark green leaves. Okay? The thing that I am picturing, you can't ever picture. It doesn't matter how many words I use to describe it. It doesn't matter if I showed you a video. You know, it doesn't even necessarily matter if I brought you to the tree and had you touch it and feel it. Like, the way I understand the texture, the way I understand the color of the leaves, the way I understand, maybe to me it's white with black rivets. Maybe to you it's black with a white body. You know, like
for sure.
There's no way for me to interpret, or there's no way for me to take the memory, almost like a computer file. I cannot take the thing that is in my head and give it to you. I can give you an approximation of it, but that approximation is filtered through your own biases and experiences of the world. There is no way for me to ever share anything with anybody, not literally. But yet we persist.
Exactly. And there are reasons that it's important to persist. Because even though it is fundamentally an alienating experience, it's also the only way that you can connect or have any meaningful interaction with the world around you.
AT fields? Yes,
and I think
yes, that is what an AT field is.
I think we can move on.
Yeah. But also I was going to say, like, there's something, just something else. I was going to say, there's something very very human about this to me, that if this was actually connected to the internet, this is the type of stuff people would leave. If you got to load this game and you got to go somewhere and you got to leave literally one, like, 120 character limit message, and that's it, you could never get another one. You get one chance to ever leave a message. Like, you press a button, it creates a bubble where you're standing, you type it in, and that's it. You can't even edit it later. That's it, right? If that existed, this is the type of stuff you would see. You'd see jokes, you'd see, haha, like, you know, like, oh, haha, congratulations, ooh, don't go any further, ooh, I'm trying to trick you. You know, you'd see fucking Half-Life references, since this isn't Source. Like, you would see that stuff, but it would also sort of become this confessional for people, where people would, you know, say, like, I want to be better, I want to be more important, I want to, you know, this is not going anywhere, next time I will do better, like, I need someone to talk to. You would see this a lot, right? You would see these everywhere. because it's a very this taps into a very human experience, and because it taps into such like a deep connecting human experience, I don't understand how Davey could ever look at this and be like, oh, this is lonely and isolating. No, it's not. I'm surrounded by the id of people, like the deepest id of them. Like if I could just leave a message right here and just put whatever I wanted, and I was feeling emotionally affected, especially, I would be putting something from the deepest part of my soul, some truth that my soul like yearns to leave out, like I need to do better, or I need someone to talk to, like, you know, like this is the id of people, and even for some people who have their lives together, for people who, you know, even the people who just leave like funny messages or messages trying to deceive you or whatever, like this, right? Like this is still their id, because like if you get one chance to leave a message that everybody else can read forever, and it's the only thing you can ever leave, and you take that as an opportunity to try to be funny, to try to like make people laugh, that says a lot about you. That says a lot about who you are. Like, you know, that if your desire is to like, I have to leave something not serious or something not funny or whatever, that can say a lot of different things about you. Like, I don't understand how this could be lonely. This is the most human experience in this game. I'm not safe. Today I learned you cannot fall. Ethical. I saw a person walking down there. Now it won't come back. Devil Tower Star. That must be a reference to.
Devil Tower Star is a reference, and it's important in this game.
Well done, all of you.
It's a shame Joey's gone to bed, because she could have had something to say about that.
Painting, what does it mean? Oh, is it a tarot thing?
They're all major arcana, yeah. So.
Stop faking it. Art. Hey guys, how's it hanging? Things about how things look messy up close and perfect from far away. I mean, that certainly is an interpretation. From up here, it just looks like dots. Cabbage shapes our nation. Again.
Yeah.
Devil Tower Star again. Spoilers, it doesn't mean anything. We will all die someday. So true. Stop pretending you are other people. Who are all of you? Whoever made this has issues. About how this game is pretentious and you all suck. Maybe I'll feel real someday. He was himself the most horrible creature he could imagine. Better upload the VOD? I will. Well, I'm here now. Yeah, we're all here now. There must be a reason for it, though. His terrible secret, he kept it well. I beat the game! More room?
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again.
Scared of writing
And
something?
here,
Don't want to feel
I'll tell you what
touched.
I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one.
Escape, escape, need an escape. He cut it up and spread it between worlds. Almost there. I've seen everything. I have traveled the world. I have never told anyone. I wish there were notes in the real world. There are, you dumb fuck.
Let me tell you about notes, my friend.
Become one with the spiraling nonsense. Oh, cool, Gurren Lagann reference.
Yeah, I'm always saying that to people.
Downward, keep
In
digging.
each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Does this puzzle have a solution? I've literally been here for an hour. What the fuck do I do? Help. Help. Doesn't make sense. Second door won't open. Oh shit, how do you solve that? Developers answers, please? Guys, it's not that hard of a puzzle.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
One person made it out.
One person.
I mean, technically nobody made it out. It's all fake, but
No.
I like
Yeah,
it. It's
but-
funny. Good, good. There's a sense of humor. Welcome to the ASMR room. Are you there? Please say something. It can be anything. I just need you to say something. Talk to me, please. Why are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak, 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 speak.
You can't do that to your pussy girl chat.
Porn stars die too.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kinda just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Coda was getting really good with Hammer. These levels are like genuinely like very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Davey has literally no patience. Like, oh, just let it play out its artsy fartsy shit for a second.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway.
Yeah, but the
Except
hallway is the
for some
well.
reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
What furniture ought to go in the center of the room? Put a giant hole in the ground.
Gives you a table anyway.
Okay, now what about along the wall of the room? Let's put a huge picture of a horse. Really like a washing machine. 10 stoves lined up along the wall. Let's put a picture of a horse. Oh, or those, I guess.
Yeah.
I think we should light up this room a bit. A skylight, full ceiling window. Let's open this baby up. I'm thinking 10 by 12 recessed electric 6-inch soft LED lights with fluorescent trim. We'll put live Tesla coils in each corner, yeah. Clearly it doesn't matter what I say. And a table. You need a table. Who are you? Where exactly are you doing this from? Pretty sure none of my choices are making any difference. Tables were invented in 1935.
True. By Hans Table.
Oh. Oh.
There's a bit more to this one, but still, it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness'
You
sake.
suck so much. It's cool. It can just be weird for weirdness' sake. This is neat.
So, okay, he
Cunt.
throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
Hello, please walk forward. This guide will enable you to escape any prison environments. Follow instructions carefully and take care that you remember each step. First, click on this table.
Bang.
Good. Go over to the photo frame and click to turn it slightly. There's the 3 dots again. Now turn the floor lamp in this room off, then back on. Now go to the left side sofa. Move it over a little. Finally, touch the shelves. That's it. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to the start to be taken back to your prison. 3 dots on the lamp, are there? No. There's just 3 dots there. No, that's not why he made this, but also...
I think it's an interpretation of Blunt Princess, but I don't think that's it.
I don't really remember too many people calling the Stanley Parable, pretentious.
Some people were weird about it, but you know.
Can you press it when it's on? Oh, I missed it then. Can't do anything about it now.
And of course,
Now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape. Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well.
A lot of prisons
and then a version
here.
where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this, to see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working on? But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop, that particular mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going, and then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
See, this game gets me because, like, I have a few pieces that I've made that are, like, they're not games. They're mostly just me fucking around with Unity because I don't really express myself that way. But, like, they're pieces... kind of. They're mostly just me fucking around with Unity, but there was one in particular that I made that was, like, a blocky recreation of my job, like, the place that I worked at, the office I worked at. Not so I could shoot it up or anything. But it was a precursor to one of my games where I made an angel or whatever. That was this like terrifying like eye that would like biblically accurate angel. But before that, it was this cube. It was this ominous cube that would like just change textures and just float in the center and rotate and stuff like that. But also like it was a very personal thing to me because the way I made this office, it filled it with this overwhelming sense of dread. And I made these cursor, stick around till the end, it'll address that. But I made these I made this cube, and like it was this thing that would change you between different parts of the level. So like I made one that was my job, I made one that was my room, I made one that was a school that I could remember particularly well. I made one that was one of my old apartments that I grew up in with my mom. And I don't really know why I did it, because I don't really usually express myself that way, but I just made all these places that were really important to me, but they were all like untextured or very low quality textured, and they had all these things, but like I kind of felt compelled to not fix them, and there was nothing you could do in them. All you could do was walk to this like scary like orb that was constantly floating and staring at you and changing its textures and felt like it was judging you, and all it would do was just cycle between the like 4 different areas. I don't really know why I made it. I don't really have reasons that I made it. I just kind of did, and it was a very important piece to me. I don't even think I have it anymore. I think it's gone, which is I'm actually fine with. Like, it's not something I feel bad about losing. But the idea that even somebody like Hex or Marcy or Joey or somebody I'm really close to, like seeing this and interpreting things about me through it, I'm really not. I'm not comfortable with that idea. It was for me. I don't want anyone else to see it. It doesn't mean anything. I didn't put like my deepest, darkest grief in there, but I also would hate for anybody, even people that I love, to play it and like, you know, think like, oh, Kyria must mean this, or this area must mean this, or, you know, this room is textured and this room isn't. That must mean that like, you know, she hates this room and this room has a lot of fond memories. Like, I would hate that. I just, no, it doesn't mean anything. I just made it because I wanted to make something.
One of the things like on the back of that, and a couple of people in chat have said similar things about like this being the reason that it's hard to create things. This game is the reason that I now feel more comfortable creating things because of the direction that it goes in.
Yeah,
and I will explain that when we get.
If this game makes you feel uncomfortable or scared of creating things, trust me, you need to see the end. Trust me. Hello? Who is this? Hey, it's me. I'm you after you escaped the prison. You're me? So you were trapped in this prison too? Yep, I was in the furniture maze. Yes, yep, I was in the escape tutorial.
And so
yes, I was in the reverse prison.
Wants is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows.
But the irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself.
That's
you know,
not ironic.
all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
That's fine, Davey. Sometimes a little self-reflection is a thing that you need. Sometimes
But
talking to
also-
yourself is the most important conversation you can have.
I also think it's not true.
Well, we'll see.
I think that a lot of these games, especially the one where you have like the 3 people in the room, I don't think that's Coda talking to Coda.
Maybe.
You know, where they ask you how to solve the puzzle.
Maybe. I mean, do you think Coda didn't make it?
No, I do think Coda made it. I just don't think it was talking to Coda. But yeah, we can keep going.
Yeah, it was in the furniture maze. That's where I am right now. Oh, I'm so glad that I'm so glad to know that I get out eventually. What's it like to escape? Actually, I'm already forgetting what being in prison was like. It's strange, but in a way I kind of miss being in prison. Feels like being completely still and wildly in motion at the same time. It's strange, but in a way I kind of miss being in prison. Why? Was there anything about it that you felt good about? Being here sucks. True, maybe I only like things once I don't have them anymore. I was comfortable, I knew its limits, I knew my place. Don't you feel excited about getting out, the promise of freedom? You know, it was comfortable, I knew its limits, I knew my place. Is that good, though? It's comfortable, but it's inhuman. I couldn't live this way. You don't need to, you just need to be patient. Having limits is way more important than you probably realize right now. You'll see what I'm talking about when you've been there a while longer. Wait, if you're me, then did you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? No, I'm the first person to call back. Then can you tell me how to get out? Maybe I can come find you. What do I have to do? To get out, all you have to do is be sincere. To get out, you need to tell me how you feel right now. To get out, just talk with me a bit. Be sincere. What? That will free me? How does that work? Listen, you can't know until you're out, but I promise it works. Just be sincere. Sincere about what? That's exactly what you need to figure out in order to escape.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice?
August 2009.
So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself?
This is my favorite game.
Oh, I think I remember this one. We're near the end then, aren't we?
To me, this environment is meant to represent
I
Coda's
think we
puzzle,
got
with
another
the two
couple in the
doors
middle
on either
before the
side
last level.
and a
Yeah.
dark transitional space between.
Yeah, I remember this one. Okay. Well, my goodness, I'm glad as all heck that you showed up. Though I thought I might having to be clean this entire house all by myself, and right miserable that would have been. Everyone knows lonesome hands make lousy homes. The dialogue system has changed. It's over here now.
You'll notice that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including
Music
this
is so
new and
nice, too.
improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Don't worry about me. I placed this nice. I'll be glad to stay here all night. Well, now you just might be a little ahead of yourself there, no? Why don't we start cleaning and then you decide whether you could do it all night? I'll finish up here. In the meantime, could you please clear the table? Much nicer. That's the table I want to see. Now, would you please run into the bedroom and make the bed? While you're in there, why don't you straighten out the rug a bit? All the little details matter. How'd you end up doing this job? Friend dragged me along at a time when I was particularly desperate for cash. Turns out I've never felt so good doing something for money in my whole life. Never did like cleaning my own home. I might have got some demons I ain't ready to face yet. Oh, speaking of demons, someone put this couch all in a mess. Would you come out and straighten these pillows out here? Oh dear, looks like someone spilled a drink over the by the couch. Maybe mop that up as long as you're over there. I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Make it especially cheesy.
Oh, yes.
No. No, it was stupid. Sorry. Never mind. Hey, these dishes need to be washed. Why don't you come do that? Last I checked, the tub needed a cleaning. Don't remind me, I know my house is dirty. And that's after I cleaned it. I need to be perfect, we're all just human.
There you go. The game just told you.
Are there still books scattered on the floor of the bedroom? If so, would you put them back on the shelf? Perfect. Now then, how about you come clear the dishes off the table?
After the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you.
Something you seem incapable of.
Cohere into something meaningful.
House cleaning is so difficult. How do you do it? Darling, let me tell you something. The house is only as difficult to clean as you are. If you're finding the work hard, maybe you have a bit of housekeeping to do before you come to work. Ha, and here I go with another lecture. Of course I would. Don't you worry about all that nonsense. For now, just smooth out the rug in the bedroom.
This game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was, like, grossly happy all the time. Just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Earlier, when I said I had a really cheesy thought, I was going to say that it occurs to me that one's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it, and it takes care of you. Don't know why I felt so weird about saying that. But there's a bit of truth in it, no? Anyway, so, housekeeping. Let's keep doing this. Books, would you clean up the books? Thanks.
Something so human in this. It's just...
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
Bye, Lynn.
We'll see you on the VOD, Lynn.
Question.
But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone.
That's why this is my favorite game.
The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
The thing it said was question, do you enjoy this? And then that was only there for like a frame before it just disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about that. Happiness is fleeting? Don't quite think that's what happened.
It's an interpretation. Oh, I'm glad you like it, but I'm glad you're into it that much.
Puzzle doors, right?
So we're back to the lamppost. That's important too.
I really thought that was the point of it.
September 2009. Items you love at members only prices. We're making it out of the Costco with this one, baby! Why'd you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Was it to make your relationships more meaningful? No. You came here to become perfect! This workshop is going to teach you how to be perfect. Want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human being than I am. Right now, who do you think about that? Or who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you know who is so well developed as a person that they make you feel disgusted with yourself, compared to whom you feel useless, selfish, ungrateful? I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. Question is, how do we do it? But is not how do we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly? This is easy. It is so easy. It is so easy.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Being perfect is effortless. Okay.
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
So the things on the side say, this is the key, how I do it with no effort. And it's in yellow, and then the other two are grayed out, which means I think I can't click them. It says, on the way to work, I told an elderly person to start contributing to society. Kids should not follow their dreams.
You can click the other ones, but he doesn't. The character doesn't say them if you click them.
Oh. Let me tell you right now, if it isn't effortless, then it's not the right answer. I still love you, it's just that you make me feel cold on the inside. Being alone must be awful. What does he actually say?
So it's just that they're not yellow in the subtitles, so he's not actually saying them, if that makes sense.
Thank goodness all of you perceive me as being wise and intelligent. Drinking is not hurting my life. If you are torturing yourself trying to find the right solutions for your life, you're not doing it right. Do you understand that you won't be happy until you love me? This is for you. Seek out only one thing. What is the easiest, simplest path forward? Ew, I'm developing a cyst. Gross. Yeah, they're thoughts. Ha ha ha, just kidding. Anyone wanted to do some ecstasy after this? There's no truth, there is no pain, or there's no path. What if I'm not a good teacher? Holy shit, you guys, something is coming out of the back of the room. Look out. Do what is easiest, do what is simplest, feel what is true. It's coming for you. It's going to destroy you. Everyone run, run. Nothing, no one.
I fell pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days.
You should be thinking about this one.
January 2010. So it's been a year of games.
This one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
I know that people used to dunk on walking simulators, but Stanley Parable was a little bit after that. That was mostly with Gone Home. And I remember people thinking that Stanley Parable was one of the good ones, so to speak, because it was funny, because it was like, haha, it doesn't take itself seriously, and when it does, it's still funny. Like, that made it one of the quote-unquote good walking simulators. I don't really remember anybody calling it pretentious, but I don't know, maybe they did. All right, the performance is beginning. Places, please. In this scene, you will be playing as me. We are at a gathering of professionals. First, you'll start out leaning against this wall. Good, stay right there. The woman across the room in this chair is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something, to succeed. Go on, say something to her. Hello. Hello? That's it? That's not a conversation. You need to actually converse with her. Be a human being. Do it again. I'm super, super, super scared right now. I like you. Here are all of my hopes and dreams. No, that's not what I said to say, or what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. I was reserved, but I knew what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, it was just that one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people nearby. Am I allowed to move? I'm going to stay right here.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Boing,
Ounce.
boing.
You must have worked really hard to get where you are. Bet you've learned to lean into the pain. What are some sacrifices you've had to make? You're messing it all up again. You'll freak her out if the conversation gets that personal that quickly. Do you not realize how important this was for me? I'll never get another opportunity like this again. Everything was riding on this. I want to try something. Try stepping back from the stage. There's the light post again. This is somebody. Okay, this long hallway is somebody's fear. This is like a fear of heights, but like not heights. I don't know. I know this is somebody's fear.
For sure.
Let me out! Let me out! Okay, yes, now this is working. This is what it was like.
With this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to perform and having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it just becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself.
No, it's not, Hannah.
And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his games. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer.
So, that interpretation is wrong.
After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
Loading June 2010.
This is the second to last game, I think.
Mobius Trip. To play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game.
Chat, close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
Kyria, close your eyes.
They're closed.
I can see you opening your eyes.
No, I'm genuinely not.
Oh, right, okay. Just model then, that's fine.
I'm gonna have to open them though. Help, I'm blind. I mean, how would you even know to say that?
Exactly.
They also say blind. Please, someone talk to me.
Bang. Dead. Yeah, you can open your eyes, cat.
You can open your eyes. What's going on?
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
That door, and then my vision went black. Please don't let this be forever. The only way to stop it is to speak something that is honest. Okay. Notice that truth is right next to another one of these lampposts.
Mm-hmm.
I can't keep making these. Yes, that's it. That's the truth. It's draining
Like I said,
me.
I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work about exactly what he's thinking. So where's that coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of new ideas anymore. And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected all the time? It was that kind of thing.
here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out.
I guess
After
there's
this
more.
game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
I believe there's this one.
December 2010. We're getting near 2011, which is when he stopped making games. So
Yeah. So there's this one, and then
where am I?
2 more after this, I believe.
I'm not in any rush. I was just curious.
No. I'm just trying to remember where we are.
Where did this island come from? Every time I ask a question, it makes more of the island. Is that a person? How lovely. It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost.
The music here is a distortion of the one from the housekeeping level.
It is. When I try to create, I feel empty. Oh no. What happened? Did something change? Trying to find this engine that used to protect me and start it again. Wait, you're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. You have to take me to it. I can do that,
If
but
the
there is
last
a problem.
game featured Coda
It's guarded
talking
by a difficult
explicitly
puzzle.
about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11.
You know,
Put yourself in my shoes playing this. Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for?
doesn't matter what I say, does it? We're going to end up there one way or another, right? Deal. Is what I actually said.
Yeah, you don't actually even get to say that.
Yep. Perry, I don't think you would be a Davey just from having seen you analyze things. I think if you're seeing this and you're like, oh god, am I bad when I like psychoanalyze media or whatever? No, but you have to keep in mind a few things. You can think, oh, maybe the artist thought this, maybe the artist was feeling this, maybe that, or I think maybe this is what the artist was going through when they did that. That's fine. When it becomes a problem is when you start saying, this is what the artist was going through. This is what happened. This was their mental state. Like, when you become an arbiter of what that thing means and what it means about them. You can think all the things you want. It's when you become like the arbiter of it that's a problem. And also, you should psychoanalyze media. You should psychoanalyze like writings and books and games and songs and movies and TV shows. You should psychoanalyze media, but you should psychoanalyze media about yourself, about the way it affected you. You shouldn't it's a fruitless effort to psychoanalyze the other people. That you can't know them, you can't be part of them. And as soon as you interpret what they've created, it's died. Like death of the author, right? It's died. It's no longer theirs. It's yours now. No, Hannah, shut up. That's not what the solution is. Beating you up.
Because from my perspective at the time and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone, not releasing them onto the internet, and so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
I will give Davey this. If your friend is making games that seem like they're about like very depressing stuff, I think it's not wrong to be like, hey, are you okay? Like if Marcy started drawing images of herself being like killed a bunch, I'd be like, are you good? Everything okay? Just double check. Just want to check in. Make sure we're close. Just, you okay? It's okay to be worried about somebody. It's okay to be like, hey, this is really dark. Are you in a good place right now? But, you know, Like, I can understand Davey's concerns, though. Uh-oh. Hex internet went out? It gets annoying after enough times. Yeah, it does. I think if you exclusively make things that are dark, it's fine. I'm more so saying if somebody who didn't make anything just suddenly started making, or made things that were not previously dark, suddenly started making very dark things. Personally, I would publish their work online and say they made this because they're weird and lonely. Yeah, true.
Sorry about that. I got disconnected for some reason.
Hannah, you're fundamentally wrong about this, and I'm not going to argue with you about it. You are fundamentally wrong. You inviting criticism of the things that you say or the things that you think is incredibly worth it. Like, just absolutely wrong on this. Hey, I recognize this. Oh, wonderful. Can you tell me how to do it? First, you have to open the door. Okay, now what? Now you have to close the first door. All right, what's next?
You remembered the puzzle.
Now just press the switch here. Ah, that was so simple.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
Okay, here we are. There's no machine here. Trust me, you'll see. Deal. I'm trying to find this engine that used to protect me to start it again. Hey, I recognize this. These are just the things from the conversation. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say game development is simple and joyous and that you love it 100% of the times. Okay, making games is simple. Also, to go with the trans allegory here, there's a crying woman. That feels wonderful, but it wasn't true. Don't worry about it. Just keep talking. Keep saying that creation is easy. I'm constantly excited and enthusiastic about my work. Yes, that's wonderful. Keep going.
Seeing this game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me.
So
I was watching him do this to himself, and I hated it.
One thing I want
I
to...
hated seeing him so trapped. It's like, video games are not worth this amount of suffering.
That's an evergreen quote right there. But anyway.
I want to point out how much this looks like the style of the Stanley Parable.
Yeah, it does.
And move on. Just having pointed that out.
Never stop creating and you'll never feel bad. Perfect. That
This
feels
is someone
fantastic.
I really cared about. And I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
I'm gonna vomit. Patience, you have to trust me. I promise this will work. Please continue. Pain breezes effortlessly off of me. Any sacrifice I made for my work are worth it 100% of the time. Yes, more. Keep going.
This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it.
I believe this. I believe
wanted
this
it to
unquestioningly.
stop more than anything. I had never felt so lost. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop.
You should go up to the prison.
But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
May 2011. The machine. I think this is the last level.
Second to last.
Ma'am, glad to see you've arrived safely. We've captured the machine. It's waiting for you now. You can get an interrogation whenever you like. I intend to be quick. Very good. Just be warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this one. Also, one more thing you should know about the machine. It calls itself Coda.
Sure does.
What will be done with the machine? Do you know where the poisonous games have come from? What will you do with it? Will it be punished? What is the machine? Will the machine ever explain itself? Hello? Where'd you find the machine, ma'am? Hello? How'd you capture the machine? Will the machine answer for what it's doing? I think that's all the unique ones.
And of course, it's the machine.
You've got a dialogue option.
Oh, you stopped. You stopped feeding us. There's people out there. Can you imagine what pain you've put them through? It's only because of your creations that any of us could make it through every day. How could we possibly go back to trusting you to do this job? So here's what needs to happen. You need to get your need to go to the people who are out there and apologize to them. You have to admit to the people that you allowed them to suffer. I've been so alone. Think carefully. I know how to hurt you. All right, then. I will speak to them for you. My followers. It falls on me to deliver bad news. The machine refuses to admit that it deliberately hurt us. But this is not important. We are stronger than it thinks we are. We will find a way to live without it. We don't need it, or we do not need its games. Let us pay it retribution. Let us show it that we are not failures. Follow me. We will destroy the machine. Follow me. We will destroy everything that the machine has created. I'll destroy machine. A gun we haven't seen in forever.
Mm-hmm.
This goes on. You have to ask why Davey is willing to publish this.
Remember, you can click to fire the gun.
So we have to.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We have to remember there is a difference between Davey Reedon, the developer of the game, the beginner's guide, and Davey Reedon, the character who is narrating to us at the moment.
Though it is worth noting that Davey has never, like, explicitly stated, as far as I'm aware, whether or not, like, how much is true and how much isn't. Kodo, I'll make sure your work dies here.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game,
He has stated that? Oh, okay. When I looked up, he hadn't.
I'm thinking that
Right,
Code's
yeah.
He
his
left it
own
unclear
head,
for a while.
and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this,
real quick
I
stop.
realized that I could be the one to initiate it.
Last time we were in this
Because it would
level,
never occur
there
to
was a
Coda to
lamppost.
start actively soliciting
Keep going.
feedback, so what if I did it for it? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Yeah, when I played in 2016 and I looked it up, he had not said anything about it.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
down your weapon.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something, I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy. So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
June 2011.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
We're probably going to be quiet for a lot of this level. Just be aware of that, chat.
This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the level, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
I would try to navigate it to stay with the artistic intent, but I don't want to give anybody a seizure.
Mm-hmm. It, once again, is navigable, but...
And to be fair, it's not like this is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
Like, pause, stop him talking.
Wait. Okay.
So, when we were in the housekeeping level, he had an interpretation that was dependent on leaving the house and going to the lamppost and blah, blah, blah. But he just told us that it looped forever.
Yep. That level looped forever. Even though his interpretation was about how it's a stopgap between 2 points in Coda's life. Yeah. But that level originally just loops forever.
Yeah. And it says something, it must say something else than what he has told it meant. Please continue. Are we going the right way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, nope.
No. I was going to say the general movement is upwards in this one.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
So, significance of that number, 15, 16, 17, are the devil, the star, and the tower.
Oh. I know the tower signifies great destruction, and the star is like feeling lost. I don't know what the devil signifies. I think it's gain.
This is where we would
The switch to
benefit
open
from
this
Joey
door
being
is
here.
actually on the other side
Okay.
of the door,
Crucial.
meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side.
You're trapped
So
in here.
even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first two challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it,
Oh,
that's
hey,
the end of the
Joey, I thought you were going to
conversation,
bed. Go to
not
sleep,
giving me
dummy.
any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem. But I can open this door for you, so let me do that.
And there genuinely
Was
is a
I
switch on
failure
this side of the
for
door.
not understanding this game?
Yep.
I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why.
Joey, could you also tell us about the devil and the star, please?
I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time. And as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years, I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean,
There they are.
and he wouldn't. I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed. Where did I screw up?
Go on.
I'm the reason that you stopped making
Ooh.
games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you. I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something important and valuable. And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about what I had to say. Even though I was showing your work, I felt good about myself. Finally. For a moment, while I had that, I liked myself.
That's very transgender to me.
Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lampposts to them?
So the lamppost in the in the narrative, obviously this is very obvious. Adding a lamppost to a game is a metaphor for giving it a purpose, giving it a meaning, giving it an interpretation,
Giving
which
it a
is
narrative.
unironically correct. And Coda's philosophy here is saying games don't need that, and you are there's more implication from what's going on, but you don't need to give a game a meaning.
And then you stopped, and I didn't have anything left to show people. I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that happened, there was no feeling at all. Nothing. Less than nothing. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Davey did say that Coda was obsessed with the lamppost.
Davey said that Coda was obsessed with lampposts, and they started appearing in all of his games after.
Thank you for Tower Facts, Joey.
I don't know. Can my second monitor looks like that's unreadable, chat? Can you read this?
You desperately need something, and I cannot give it to you. I literally do not have it.
Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. The fact you think I am frustrated or broken says more about you than about me.
That is an incredible line.
I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine. You're not my problem to solve. But I do hope that one day
I'm
it
afraid
clicks
that I
and you
did
make
something
peace with
really
this thing you were
stupid because I
wrestling.
don't like myself.
When you finally see what I am talking about, don't say anything.
Ooh, that moment.
That's why
Ooh.
I'm releasing this collection of your work. Is
Instantly
because I
misses the
haven't been
point.
able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please. I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
Ooh. How are we holding up, chat? It's gonna be okay. Looking at the sky again.
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease. 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 It's like a disease.
Back there, the red door on the train. So far, I disagree with that interpretation, and I'll get to it after we finish the epilogue.
Solution. I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed.
So
Maybe
much
he
revealing
just likes
dialogue here.
making prisons. Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you. If I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation, what would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like. What now? I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for. And so I'm just gonna... Okay.
I think the funny thing is that because of the type of game this is, it begs to be interpreted. Like, it's not
Absolutely.
giving you all the answers, but it's about the
Absolutely.
dangers of that kind of interpretation. In part, anyway.
No, absolutely. I have very strong feelings about that cursor. I was just saying I have strong feelings about what you said before about having a lot to make up for, but we're just going to let the game finish out.
Remember this laser chat? Here's the question: is it going to kill us? Is it going to take us up? Coda didn't make this level. Davey did. So, is this Davey killing himself, or freeing himself of sin?
There we go. One of the first things that you see in the Whisper Machine level is the maze that you just went through. And now seeing it magnified like this. There's a string note at the end here. Ooh.
Turn back from this cave. You said, let me prove that I'm brave. Let me keep going. But the cave goes for miles and miles and miles, and you're so tired, but I know that you're
I think you missed the point a little if you think it got heavy-handed. I'm gonna be real with you.
It was meant to be in a certain way. There are so I have an interpretation. But I'm gonna let you go first because it's your stream. So
I'm gonna wait till it kicks us back to the main menu. Long play.
yeah, it's about to now.
So I have a two-pronged interpretation about this game, chat. This is where Hex and I disagree. Hex sees this a lot more as a story, but as somebody who's made games, especially in the Source Engine, or at least, fucked around with the Source Engine, I have to take this for what it is. And, Davey can be sad, and he can say he needs to get better, and all this other kind of stuff. Like, he can put all these things that he wants to put in there, and all this stuff, right? And he can say the way that he stringed levels together, even though they were just... Something you have to understand is that all of Coda's levels were originally just islands, essentially. They were separate. They did not connect to each other. Remember the now entering, now exiting? Those were just levels on their own thing. They did not connect to anything. You could not connect them to other levels. Every level was just its own individual level. It was just its own individual little level that you would run in Half-Life 2. And it was, completely separate from everything else. And the thing that I keep coming back to is, as a game developer, at the end of the day, no matter what he says or what he, how unreliable of a narrator he is or anything else like that, Davey had to put this game together, because what this ultimately is, I mean, the game, more than I remember, supports this reading. What this is Davey asking for us to forgive him through Coda. The entire game, even the ending, even the part where it's Coda asking Davey to stop. Like, Davey did, that level didn't just slip itself in there. It didn't magically possess itself one day and get in there. Davey put that there. The harrowing, oh, I'm so sad, and I'm, all of that had to be recorded, put into the game, and then published on Steam. And I am talking about the Davey in character, not the actual real life Davey. But the Davey in game says thank you for buying and playing the beginner's guide. So he's aware that like you purchased this game is on Steam. You got this on Steam. It is a collection of games you're playing. Every part of it is set up to manipulate you, to feel bad for him, to like it's essentially an argument, and you're getting one side of the argument, and the other side of the argument is MIA. So this is Davey telling you the argument and presenting all the facts in such a way that even when he's making himself look bad, he's still the one crafting the entire narrative in the first place. Coda's games didn't have a narrative. That was the point. Davey made one out of nothing, including making a narrative that leads up to Coda getting frustrated and asking Davey to stop. Davey, like, again, the level, the tower doesn't just show up out of nowhere, first of all. But secondly, Coda, Davey starts presenting all these levels as Coda getting more broken down and more stressed out and more wanting to quit or whatever, right? Which is true. Coda says that, or at least, that's what it says on the walls, and we can assume Coda wrote that if they did. But, and if Davey didn't just make that up. But, at the end of the day...
I think that there are certain levels which are completely Coda. Especially like the earlier ones. I think there are certain levels which are completely Davey. Which are... No, I don't think anything is completely originally Davey, because I think that he is... whether he knows it or not, fundamentally an uncreative person who can't create himself. He can only edit and alter and modify. And in so doing, he defiles another person's work. The level that really brings that out to me is the one where he says he was arguing with Coda, the one where you're supposed to be in prison for an hour. He is just so casual about modifying that level that he doesn't even tell you that he's doing it in the same way that he's told you about the previous ones. Obviously he's modified levels previously, like modifying the level with the stairs is the first time that it happens in the game. And it's just, he doesn't see that the slowness is part of the point. He doesn't understand that. He thinks that the point is the room, and so he misses out on the experience of getting there, which is to do with the slowness. If that makes sense.
So I will say this about Davey, and chat might get mad at me for this. I have a very, very, very tepid, lukewarm defense of Davey, which is that, I understand why he did these things. I don't think they were good or right or correct, but I have definitely been in the position of somebody I care about being in a bad place and me just wanting to fix it and wanting to make them happier and wanting to make it better, even when they kind of needed to be in that bad place or whatever. I have definitely been in a position of trying too hard to help somebody to the point that it made things worse.
Davey's biggest sin is not understanding what his friend is trying to say to him, even as he ruins the friendship. I believe that there was a friendship there, because within the narrative, Coda must have showed Davey the games from before they met, which suggests that they had some kind of relationship. After the level where Coda sends the file of games, which is called playable games, every game is speaking to Davey.
It's also
Sorry,
go ahead.
It's either speaking to Davey, or it's Coda's interpretation of what Davey is saying. The lecture from the professor standing at the front is clearly Davey just saying, here's how you should be doing things, here's my interpretation of things, here's how you should be making games, here's how you should be good at things. And Coda is very aware that, this is just a front for the hole in Davey's soul, basically, which is what the grayed out thoughts are meant to represent. It's that you're not an amazing, perfect person. And Davey almost gets it, but he doesn't understand that he is the professor. He thinks that Coda is the professor.
I don't think it's about harassment against female game developers. That's a little insane. It's very clearly about, like, 2 people.
Hannah interpretation. Coda's not real even within the fiction of the game. Interesting. Okay. I could see that.
I will say this. I have a slightly weirder input into this game. I have a slightly weirder view into this game because I knew like the real life Davey Reardon. Like, I wasn't like friends with him. I think I actually did have him on Steam, but I wasn't friends with him. Like, we didn't talk, but like I saw him around. I interacted with him on Facepunch. He was around. The Stanley Parable originally released on Facepunch. Davey made the thread. I remember reporting a bug in it to Davey, and he fixed it. Like, I saw Davey around. I didn't know him as a person, but I had more insight on him than just somebody who's played the Stanley Parable or whatever, right? He was like a person in my like orbit, so to speak. I can kind of see that, Hannah.
The only thing I disagree with you on, Hannah, is that I think that something like the tower, where the point of the game is to make the person playing it feel that negativity. Like, the entire environment of the level is oppressive and like cruel. The like maze, which just creates the horrible noise and like the sensation of just being rebuffed and like no easy feedback. And also the fact that that level has to be modified to get to the point where the call out is.
Coda also
If
knew
Davey
that Davey would do that, though.
Yeah, Coda knew that Davey would modify the level to keep progressing. Because even though the game was impossible, if Davey wasn't the sort of person who would do that to somebody else's work, he wouldn't have needed to see that message.
I don't know if I totally agree with, like, Coda isn't real in the fiction of the game. I think Coda is a real person in the fiction of the game. But, I definitely can see the interpretation that Coda is the actual real-life Davey Reardon. But...
I could see something like that.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. I'm working more so on the fiction that the game provided me. I'm going to, even if there are hints to it or whatever, I'm going to assume, because, you know, Davey said that Coda is a real person, I'm just going to work off of that and say, yeah, Coda and Davey are real people. Whether or not they actually are, whether or not they are even in the fiction of it, I'm going to work off of what I was told, which is that. But the interesting...
Every lamppost apart from the first one is added by Davey.
I think the first one is, too.
I think the first one isn't. I think it's just something that Davey latches onto and assumes it is a theme. Because it's the first one where the lamppost is in like the center of the like apartment buildings or whatever. That's the only place it actually stylistically fits.
No, that's not a hot take. That's a very apt point. That's a very apt point, Jessica. I mean, here's the thing though. We can sit here all day and think, what did Coda think? Why did Coda do this? Why did Coda do that? And all that. But first of all, we're kind of being Davey doing that. But secondly, like you said, more so, we don't know Coda. Even less than, we know even less than Davey does, because the only image we're getting of Coda is one that Davey has admitted to lying and modifying about. Or lying and modifying the things about. Davey said Coda was obsessed with Lamppost. That's not true. Davey said that Coda, you know, the game ends and that you keep going and this is a go-between. But no, the house cleaning level actually just looped forever. Like, we can't even trust the basic facts about Coda that Davey says about Coda, which means that we can't interpret why Coda did or did not do something because, you know, we don't know if Davey is lying about that or not. We don't know Coda, even less than Davey does. And we never will. There's no way of knowing.
So, I think that a bunch of the levels are very heavily modified. Even when he doesn't tell you he's modifying them.
No, yeah, I think every single one of them is.
He tells you that he modified the walking speed in the first one. And he tells you when he's modifying the fact that the walls aren't there. I think that the outside of that level is a complete creation. I don't think that was something that was present in the quote unquote original version of that.
The one with like all
I
the
think
different
he
stuff.
was the one where it was like, oh, here's a bunch of extra corridors outside of the walls and stuff like that. I think that is completely like created by Davey.
Why? I don't see
Because
that
I
at all.
think it's to introduce the theme that he talks about of the rich interior versus the dull exterior versus the rich exterior versus the dull interior, blah blah blah. I think that's a completely
I mean, I can understand that, Hannah.
I think that's a totally valid oh, excuse me. I think that's a totally valid interpretation, and I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's the one that I would go to,
What
but
do
I
you think
can
the
see
three
that and
dots
I don't
mean?
think
Because
there's
I
anything
forgot
wrong.
they even existed.
So I think I don't think they mean anything, and I think that's the point. Within like the meta narrative of the game, it's there to be something to be like, oh, that seems significant, and for it to not mean anything is important. In the same way that you were talking about it earlier, like you should just be able to make projects that don't go anywhere just for the experience of making them. And sometimes something can be there and not matter or not be important, and it's just something for you. And that is it's the importance that you bring to it. A symbol doesn't have to mean anything. It means something because of the experience that we attach to it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that the dots actually mean anything either within the games themselves or within the meta narrative. It's more about here is a thing that you cannot have the answer to because there is no answer. It's not an answer that I don't know and I can't tell you. It's just this does not have an answer. Which is, very very meta and bullshit, but that's literally the point. Interesting game though, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I think that's actually like actually really stupid. Like, I don't know who made that video, but I'm sorry. I think that's the only interpretation I'm going to be like, that's not valid.
So
I think this game has literally nothing to do with Gamergate, and I think trying to apply that to it is like you're in too deep. You're in too deep,
I
and you're
almost
trying to
think-
like trying to like say like, oh, this definitely is a pushback against this social. That's no, absolutely not.
I think that kind of interpretation. I don't know who wrote that essay, but I think that kind of interpretation is almost an example of falling into this kind of behavior, where you are projecting something. You have an issue which is affecting you, and it might be a genuine issue. Obviously, Gamergate was very much a major problem for a lot of people, and it like caused a deep psychic wound to a lot of people. And it's very easy when you get into that sort of space to feel like everything is about that. In the stage level, when the gates are closing down on you, Davey talks about Coda hiding away from the world. But what it really is Coda feeling like they're being forced into that space by Davey. Davey doesn't understand that he is like a person who is affecting Coda. He just thinks that his experience of the way that Coda interacts with him is how Coda must be. The only way that Coda is. Coda's entire personality is based around him, and whether he interprets it, whether he realizes it or not, Davey is putting himself in the position of the entire world. Like, I am all that matters. My interpretation is the thing that matters, and it's very easy when you have like. Sorry, I will wrap up on this point.
No, you're
But
fine.
very easy when you have like something which something that so takes over everything, whether it's a trauma, whether it's an obsession, whether it's just like a passing fancy, something that so consumes you, it's very easy to take a round peg and put it into a square hole and just assume that that is what the thing actually should be.
I think ultimately my interpretation of the game is that Davey the Davey Reardon in game, the Davey Reardon in game made a like unconsciously. I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was on purpose. I don't think at any point Davey wanted to hurt Coda or anything like that. I think
Certainly.
Davey made a game from Coda's games, because this isn't Coda's game anymore. None of these are Coda's games. They may be based on Coda's games. I liked your tarot reading. I think it fit in pretty well with what I would say the themes of the game are. But yeah, somebody who wants to be popular and wants external validation bringing downfall upon you. I would say that's true. But yeah, I think Davey unconsciously has made a game that is essentially a plea. Like, and I know he says like, oh, I made this to find you so you could forgive me and stuff like that. So it seems conscious, but I think just like Davey knows he did something wrong, not just on the obvious level of saying at the end, I fucked it up, I poisoned them for you, right? Even when he makes changes that are very obviously against the artistic spirit of the game, like changing the walking speed, it's up to you, the player, to enact those changes. You have to press enter to make your walking speed faster. You have to press enter to take away the walls. You have to press enter to make the bridge in the tower that stops you from going through the invisible maze. Like, obviously there are some where he just does it for you, like the door that can't be opened in the tower. But for the most part, when Davey understands, like, hey, this is clearly, like, the intent of this, but it's kind of fucking up the presentation I'm trying to do, so I'm just gonna remove that intent. But he knows that's wrong to do, so he's making it like, just so you know, this was the intent, but you can just press this button to skip it. Okay, let's go. Like, he wants to get past it. Davey knows he did something wrong, and this game is an unconscious, like, manipulative ploy within the fiction of the game, anyway, to be like, please, Coda won't forgive me, and I thrive on external validation. I need you, the player, to forgive me. I need you to know that I did wrong, but I need you to understand why I did wrong. And I need you to say, like, you did wrong, but I get why you did. Like, Davey needs that desperately. He needs it like you need air to breathe. He cannot live with the idea that he just fucked up and there's nothing he can do about it. Which, personally, I relate to extremely heavily. I also struggle with that a lot. I also struggle with, like, hurting someone or doing something wrong and just not being able to do anything about it. But, like, you know, like,
So
it is the game was consciously assembled in the order it was assembled, with the events and narrative playing out that Davey created. In the fiction of the game, he created this game that plays out this way and does this exact stuff. You can
interesting.
say whatever you want,
question.
but what?
Interesting question that Grey Rebus put in the chat. Knowing everything that we now know, what do we think about the title of the game?
It feels like the beginner's guide to not, like, fuck everything up, to not be like him. It is a guide to it's twofold. It's a guide on how to like not be like him, but it's also a guide on how to, like, be someone who can create things, I guess. I think ultimately, I think that the title is a little insidious. I think ultimately what the title is like, Davey still feels to this day that Coda's games are like the thing that makes him able to make games. Like, Coda is his muse, right? For all the toxic things that can manifest. So the title is like the beginner's guide to how to make art. To like Davey, what would make Davey happiest? What would absolutely make it was called the Bumbling Fool or something. The Streetwise Fool. Yeah. What would make Davey the absolute happiest is for somebody to see Coda's games and go like, no man, I get it. These are really powerful. They make me want to create. That would make Davey, like, he would fucking shoot to the moon with happiness. That's what he wants. But, like, you know, that's not the point of Coda's work.
Yeah, for sure. It's so real quick, wheeling back to what we were saying, and something I can't remember who in the chat said it, but something that you mentioned, like, about, you know, feeling those things and empathizing with the ways that Davey feels and, like, understanding where that comes from. I think that something important to understand is that just because you do these bad things Just because you do something that hurts somebody, it does not mean that you can never redeem yourself. But in redeeming yourself, that doesn't come with forgiveness from the person that you hurt. Like, if Davey Reedon, the character, becomes a better person and like becomes a better game designer and becomes a better developer through reflecting on these experiences, which, as you say, by packaging up this game and putting it out in the way that he's put it out, suggests that he's nowhere near that yet. With the end of the game, if you read the epilogue as being an experience that Davey is having with you as the player right there and then, rather than something that in your interpretation you're saying is, that's a pre-packaged thing. He's literally, he's literally already put that out. He knows what he's going to say before he said it. But if you do read it as an interpretation of him having that dialogue with you as the player, it does suggest that there is a redemption possible for him. He seems like he's starting to get it during the epilogue after he's had his meltdown at the end of the tower. And you can redeem yourself, you can become a better person, but that doesn't mean that you will get the closure of forgiveness from the person that you have hurt. And that's an important lesson to learn.
I mean, there's also the interpretation for the title that there's interpretation for the title that it is like the beginning of Davey getting better. That like Davey feels like this is the end, but at the end he goes, I have to go, I have to get better. Like I have to, I have work to do. So this is the beginning for Davey. But
Yeah, I could see that. Like, I think we've all had that experience of like fucking something up in a way that like you can feel a break, like that something has changed, and learning that you can move past that as a person and become better as a person, even though you might never get that connection back. That's an important thing to learn. Like, we hope that we never make those mistakes, but when we do, we have to be kind to ourselves as well and understand that you do need to change something about yourself, which Davey needs to learn, which hopefully you can imagine happens within the narrative of the game. But yeah, it's a heavy game. It's heavy themes. It really stuck with me after I played it last week. The first thing I did after I played it was start talking to my lovely girlfriend who loves games, and we talked about it for like 3 hours.
I mean, it's
And I was just
interesting
like,
because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of analysis that you can do about like it being also being Davey or like Davey being and Coda being the same person and like Hannah is saying and stuff. I don't think any of that is wrong, but I find it almost impossible to interpret it out of the lens that I have, and the lens that I have is a game developers making video games, and like that's all I know. So like, I like chat. Do you guys remember that bit? I was actually telling Hex about this. Do you guys remember that bit in the H Bomber Guy video about Bill Nye, where he's talking about Armored Skeptic and like an editing trick he does, where he's like, no, hold on, let's think like an editor here, and how like he would have had to like import this clip and then cut out these things on purpose to present it the way that he did, and like then his point is about it being presented, but that only makes sense. His point only makes sense if the way he presented it is how it actually happened, rather than the actual clip that happened. Like he created a narrative and then exposited on that narrative rather than that being the actual thing that happened, right? That's the only way I can think about this game. I can only think of it as like Davey created this game. He put this game together, and that is a choice that he made. Yeah, I mean it's a game with a lot of different interpretations.
Yeah, which is pretty obviously the point of the game. Like, it very pointedly refuses to make a real interpretation of its own, other than telling you that Davies is wrong. And even then, it doesn't outright say that Davies is wrong. It just presents it pretty openly that
Davey
Davey
doesn't
is
say
wrong.
that he did anything, or doesn't say that it's wrong. It's more so that he says like he fucked up. And you can do something right and still fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I know this is really cringe. Sorry, but hold on. There is a Star Trek quote that a moment that I really enjoy. Hold on. That I think about a lot when it comes to thinking about this game. Hold on. I'm gonna stream it to you too, Becky.
Okay.
Then I'll end it with this, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Come in, please. Commander, I require your presence on the bridge.
Captain, with all due respect, perhaps it would be better if you choose another to serve as your first officer.
Data, you were my first officer.
I have not been able to isolate the problem, sir. I might make a mistake.
Yes, you might. But that does not alter your duty to me and to this ship. Now, do you know how to formulate a premise?
Yes, sir.
Then formulate this one. How do I deal with Commander Riker and the Hathaway? I will await your answer on the bridge. And Commander, it is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life.
I believe I understand, sir.
And Data, will
I'm
you
so
leave your
glad they started
hesitation and
taming
self-doubt
down
here in
Data's
your
makeup,
quarters?
unrelated to the point.
Yeah. I don't know. I think about that quote a lot when it comes to stuff like this game and other stuff like it, because I'm not saying Davey didn't do anything wrong. He absolutely did, but he spent almost the entire time thinking he didn't, and spent a slightly smaller amount of that time like wanting to help somebody he cared about, saying like, "Oh no, my friend is in a bad place. I want to help." Like, that's a relatable feeling. We've all been there. We've all been like, "Ah, shit, my friend's not in a good mood. I want to like help him out. I want to be there for him," right? Like, and then, what they don't need is somebody to be there. They need something else, and something you can't provide in that moment. And if you're a normal person, you go, "Oh, well, I mean, I'll do what I can, but if they just need to be alone right now or something, that's fine." But if you're a person like Davey, or a person like me, and maybe I'm just projecting here a little bit, but if you're a person like Davey or a person like me, you go like, "But there has to be something I can do. I have to be able to do something because I want to help," which is really just a selfish need. You want to be useful. You want to be like important. It's a selfish need inherently, even if it comes from a good place. So, I don't know. But anyway, I don't really have anything else to say to you.
No, I think like it's a very interesting game. I can see this being one of those things that I want to play like every now and then, like just to like refresh it and see how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably like it's gonna be one of my things, I think, just going forward. But I was really happy to get to play with you and to follow along with chat.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun. It's obviously a heavy game, got some nasty themes in it, but I hope that you take away good things from it. Like, I don't want anyone to walk away from it feeling like worse about themselves as a person or worried about themselves. Like, if you see something about yourself in this game that you don't like, use that as a reason to be a bit better about yourself. Like, be a bit nicer to somebody, be a bit more, give somebody the benefit of the doubt.
He does say
Just
he
let
reached
yourself
out to
be.
Coda, I will say. He said that him and Coda had arguments about it, and also he says that he says in the tower, like, he asked Coda directly, "What are your games about? What do they mean?" Like, he tried to apply all these narratives, and he doesn't say what Coda's response was, which to me implies Coda didn't have a response at all, but it could have also been an argument. I don't know. But yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I think we can wrap up if there's nothing else you want to do today, love.
I don't think I could follow anything. What am I going to do? Go play Alan Wake? Oh, all right, cool. Glad we all just got emotionally devastated. Who wants to go play some Alan Wake or some Fortnite or, let's go play a Lego? I don't think I can follow this up with anything.
Oh, are you going to play the Lego game on stream, or are you keeping that for yourself?
No, I'll probably play it on stream.
Nice. Okay. I don't remember if that has online, but I would love to play that with you if it does. I cannot remember if it's just couch co-op.
I don't know either.
No idea, but we'll find out. Yeah. Cool. Okay, I will let you start wrapping up then.
I mean, that's fine. Just do you want to say bye to chat? Because I'm just gonna hit end. Like I'm gonna
Okay.
we're gonna raid Velvet and I'm gonna hit end. So say bye if you want to now.
Okay, no problem at all. Thank you for letting me hang out, chat. It was a lovely time, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Bye,
Bye, chat.
everybody. See
Love
ya
chat.
tomorrow. I think. Am I here tomorrow? Probably. I am here for
think so.
tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, Guild Wars. Doing Guild Wars 2
Yeah.
guild missions and stuff like that. Yeah, back to our regularly scheduled programming tomorrow. Just wanted to me and Hex just wanted to hang out and share this emotionally good game with you guys. All right, bye
Yeah.
everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye. Boo. Did I scare you? Thank you for watching, and especially a big thank you to everybody in today's credits for their support on the stream. I hope to see you again soon. Bye!